welcome to this episode, Bahar, of the Alumni Interviews. How are you doing today?
I'm great, super excited about this conversation and meeting you, Adie. Yeah, so honored to be here today.
Love it as well. Would it be okay if you shared a little bit about you, a short introduction before we
Yes,
go on to
I'm Bahar Boostani and I support women in transition, whether they are looking for some purpose, more meaning in their life or in their business to find more alignment within their selves and within their bodies. And I do that through transformational coaching, somatic practices, and meditation, yoga. My approach is a little bit holistic and has a spiritual nature. But I'm full-time coach, transformational coach, and I've been doing that since 2020 when I certified with Animas, right in
Wonderful.
the middle of the pandemic.
Yes. Oh my goodness. 6 years as well. Happy
Yeah,
6 years to your
yeah,
practice,
yeah,
Bahar.
yeah.
I think it would be great to start off with how did you know you wanted to train as a coach?
That's a really good question because I didn't know.
Mhm.
I didn't know. I didn't have any intention to be trained as a coach. My journey unfolded when I was in my past life. I was in tech and working as a software developer in IT for many years. And then I was seeking for more purpose, for more meaning. I started working on myself first and taking on something that I love to do, and that was painting and drawing at the time. And that opened me up to something more than me because I didn't have the answers there. I knew I wanted something else than the corporate, the job, the security, but I didn't know what. I started to work with a transformational coach. And that was the catalyst for the changes that happened in my life afterwards. She invited me to her retreat in Peru, and I went there, and everything changed when I came back. And then like, I went to the sacred valleys of Peru, and I felt like I had a deep self realization back then that many of the things that I was doing was not the right way or was not aligned with who I am. And when I came back, I think because my body, my intuition was so activated through series of synchronicities. I simply searched about transformational coaching London, and Animas came up, and there was a introduction, a day introduction the next day or something. So I signed up. So I went there and I said, "That's it. I want that."
Yeah. Oh my
So
goodness.
that was the thing. So I just followed the signs. I knew that I wanted to do something different, but the actual thing showed up when I made the choice, started to do some inner work, and then I quit my job because at the time I was working full time as an IT consultant, and I was contracting, so I was saving for 6 months, a year of just doing, you know, following the calling.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Sorry, go on.
No, that's it. That's the beginning of the journey. That's how I ended up in training with Animas, mainly because I was interested in transformational coaching and I saw the impact of that on my life when I started working with my own coach. Yeah.
Mhm. It's fascinating how you were in IT and then it all started when you went back into painting.
Yeah.
So in yeah, so the creativity. What was happening for you whilst you were still at work that kind of spurred you go back into art? Because I think a lot of people could resonate with that. Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question because when I was at work, I like I think I was around the time, age wise, I was 35, 34, that I achieved everything. like master's degree in software engineering, really good job, really good salary, husband, wife, sorry, not wife, my husband, we bought a house, and everything was everything that they told me, my parents told me, that is a measure of success was achieved, but I was not fulfilled. um and but the big irony, the big question was that I didn't know. I wanted something, but I didn't know what was that. The reason that I started painting was, I remember when I was a teenager, every time I painted, I couldn't hear things. I was so into painting that I couldn't hear the sounds around me. So I took Fridays off, or I think Friday afternoons off, and for 2 years I just did painting. And that creativity, and also listening to self-developmental books, every book that I've listened to or read that. And that was my journey of like meditation, creativity. And I did that for 2 years to create momentum, to know, as if I was preparing myself for something to emerge. And that was a 2 year of emergence or
Yeah.
preparation. Yeah.
That's a beautiful word. Yeah, that's what I was hearing too. It's an unfolding process of emergence, like a coming back to
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And then throughout that time, you that's when you basically found your coach.
Towards the
Yeah.
end of that, because I wanted to leave my job, and I wasn't sure, so I wanted someone to help me with plan A, plan B, plan C. I'm Virgo. I'm very practical, want to have plans and things like that.
Yes.
So that was my journey of starting to work with a coach, because the calling was very strong, and that she helped me to realize what is it that I really want in my life. Yeah.
Amazing. Uh and you found Animas with the introductory session. How was the session for you? Was it an immediate, yes, this is it, or actually it took you a little bit of time? Because people have got different processes to getting to that decision of, yes, I'm going to do training. Yeah.
Um, I remember at the time, because of my, let's say, spiritual pilgrimage to Peru and coming back, I
Mm,
was really open and really allowing, for the first time in my life, allowing myself to follow the signs. I remember in the introductory session, I think it was a day-long session in central London.
yes.
Yeah. Um, what really inspired me was the stories that um, the graduate coaches or alumni told about the unfoldment process. That, and I remember after the session I went and had a chat with one of the ladies, and she said, this happened for me, my life is better, I have more flexibility. And that was was very inspiring for me. And because I worked with the coach that at the time was a trainer with Animas, after my session, I called her and said, this is what I want to do. Is it good? Obviously, there's an investment, and I wanted to make sure that this is the right thing. And I did my research. So inside me, it was a yes. The signs was yes. I did my own research. I talked to people that are relevant, and I did it. And I made the full payment because I wanted to go all in. That was my intention.
All in commitment. Yeah, absolutely. And so how was the experience of training with Animas?
That was, I can tell you, that was the best thing I've done, because when I signed up back then, Animos was still having classes run in person in Regent's University. So we were the first group or last group that I think it's online now. It's
Oh,
all online,
yes.
yeah?
Yes,
So
everything's online. Yeah.
so we went for the first module, and then pandemic happened and lockdown happened, and everything went online afterwards. So that was the best thing I've done for myself during pandemic and lockdown, because all the training, it's a very experiential. So we, as I think there was 6 or 7 modules, and every month we had a module, and going through the curriculum and all of that. But it was very practical for me. I was during the modules and afterwards, we were encouraged to have one-to-one sessions to practice coaching, to do our own self-reflection, development, self-developmental work, inner work. And imagining that uncertainty, time of uncertainty that everyone was going through, I had something to hold on to, the best thing that I've done for myself. And I didn't feel the impact of pandemic as much because of that, I would say.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. So
Yeah,
yeah, you were part of the group that basically transitioned
yeah,
into to online.
yeah.
I'm curious how you found your clients back then. A lot of prospective students, worry about that. What was that experience like for you when you were doing the training?
Um, I started with, because I was so keen and I was so passionate. And the reason I was so passionate about coaching, because I experienced the impact and the transformation that happened for me in my life, and how happier and how more fulfilled I was after working with a transformational coach. So that passion really helped me to go all in. And from module one, I started to reaching out to friends and say, I am doing this training. So I was not shy about that. I was telling everyone that I'm doing this is amazing. Everything we learned in every module, I shared with my friends, and I said, would you be interested in doing some coaching sessions with me? And I remember my first client was a friend of mine. We weren't like close friends, so I didn't know much about her life, but we did things together. And then she turned, after three pro bono sessions, she converted to a client, because obviously as part of your certification you need to do certain hours of paid client. It was a very low fee, but she turned into client. The second client I found, I just went on Animas Facebook group, and I said I'm doing a pro bono session, and that also turned into a paid client, and that client stick with me for the next 5 years. And as I evolved, she came with me. So I think she started with paying me 70 per hour. Then she turned into a package. I think the last package she had with me was, 3K or something. So she evolved with me because, it works.
Yeah, thank you for sharing some numbers as well. I think
Yeah.
people appreciate that the transparency.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone starts from there, but actually hearing how much people charge is almost like, okay, right, it's showing me what's possible.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think the lowest number for me was 20, then I moved to 40, and then this is all before my diploma. And I stick to 60, 70 for a while. So as your confidence as a coach evolves, your your worth sense of worth evolves, because there is this misunderstandings around money, that oh, no one is going to pay that, oh no, especially at the beginning. But the more coaching you do, then the more worth work you do inside, then it becomes more easier to to set a number and very relaxed ways say that. And I was surprised when people said yes, uh, at the beginning, but now I know it works. It's part of that, because what better investment you want to have for yourself. Yeah,
yeah, completely. Well, I'm curious. So during the training, you mentioned the importance of reflection.
yeah.
I would completely agree. I think that's what makes a difference regarding improving your own coaching skills. If I ask you now, what were the more important reflections or lessons that you've learned from actually doing the training that still maybe sticks with you up until this day?
um what I did after every single coaching session, year one, every single coaching session, I spend 5 to 15 minutes of reflecting of how how was the session, what did I learn, where I can improve, or if there was anything that I, anything that I celebrate about myself. So it was simple questions, but I really stick to that reflective way of coaching. And after a while, I noticed that there's a theme coming on. So it wasn't only about the client in front of me, it was something revealing about myself, that there was always, although I knew my confidence as a coach was improving, there was always a part of me super criticizing me. So I tried to even that with more celebration, with more, not ignoring that, working on the part. So I did a little bit of part work on myself. So I used reflection not only for improving my work with my clients, but also improving any theme, pattern, or shadows of myself. And that self-criticism has been my thing for a while, for a long time. So, and obviously whatever that you're working, this is one of my learning, and I'm sure you can agree, Adie, that whatever issue, wound, shadow, pattern that you have, you attract clients that exactly holding that pattern, which are a reflection of who you are, and maybe you are a couple of steps ahead of them. But as you start working, especially if, for the listeners or viewers that are early stage coaches, whatever that you're dealing with will be reflected back to you. So it's an opportunity for growth.
Oh, complete. I'm so glad you brought this up. I don't think I've done a few interviews, and this is the first time that parallel processing is brought up. Like what you said, we tend to get the clients that are on the same journey as us. But then also talking about, whilst you go through the training, we are inevitably going to face our own patterns.
Yeah, yeah,
And how that's very much a part of the training,
yeah.
the deepening of our maturity, the deepening of our self-awareness throughout the course. um yeah, so the self-critical voice, is there anything else that come to mind as examples? I'm sure a lot of people can, yeah.
Um, Well, yeah, there are a few learnings about that voice. I used to personalize that a lot at the beginning. I am befriending that and integrating that. So the way that I am, especially this one works. This is for before a session, right? So this is one of my patterns. Obviously, more people that identify themselves as perfectionist that have this pattern. So every time I have a workshop, a group practice, or anything, doesn't matter how many times, a yoga class, doesn't I'm quite confident, very confident in what I'm doing, and done it for many years. But every time I'm doing that voice of doubt or self-criticism, something is not enough, comes in. So before I was trying to calm that, meditate, or do whatever which helps. Now I welcome that. Now I know that this means that I am in, it's not only mine. I am going to a place, a space that are other energies, other people, other souls are coming in. So it's not only my anxiety, my self-criticism, my doubt. We are healing something together. So when I change from personal to collective perspective, it is very helpful before the session. After the session, I the practice of gratitude and celebration has really helped me. That reflection on celebrating all the wins and all the things that so much better than what the voice was telling me before the session. So that has helped. And also having for a chronically diseased perfectionist, I found a practice of regular gratitude really helpful for me. So that
Mm.
holding on to I have a nightly, evening, daily gratitude ritual that mention all the things that went well, and that
Mm.
that has become a muscle for now. So that has helped as well, if that makes sense.
It really does. It's a
Mm.
continued practice. Like you said, it's a muscle that you keep on strengthening. It's a rebalancing, and it doesn't stop as well.
No.
And I love that you mentioned that when you go into session either with a person or with a group, that your consciousness widens,
Yeah.
that it goes out. I think that's very representative of what happens in a coaching session, because it
Yeah.
becomes all about our client.
Yeah.
We focus on them and their experience. And I think a lot of maybe people who are going into coaching at the beginning, there's a lot of worry, and that worry is very focused on self.
Self. Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That practice of not only identifying with a separate self and becoming part of the one or a collective consciousness has really, really helped me, not only with coaching, obviously with birth as well, but that's another story.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, I know. I would love to dive into that, but yes, we'll keep focus. So after the qualification, what helped you build momentum? What was that journey like now that you've qualified?
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
This is the part that I am so excited to share, especially with for the early stage coaches that are
Mm.
people who are deciding or are doing their certification or just recently certified. One of the things that I've done was that first of all, I am so passionate about this job. I love it so much. So I went all in. And I did everything that I knew. I started an Instagram page or, my website. And this is not, for some of my classmates, that was not easy, but tech was my gift. I That was not difficult at all for me. But one of the things that I think, if I go back, I wouldn't do is I focus on one thing and do that
Mm.
instead of doing so many things at the same time. So I remember, because I was doing weekly workshops, I started running group programs quite early on, which was not, all of that is part of the, I don't regret it. So I started an 8-week training, and I started, offering one-to-one. So I did everything that I knew or had, and I wanted to have all of that at the same time. For example, I was beating myself for not having a newsletter, or for not creating content as consistent as I should be. So there was a constant feeling of being behind. So it worked, but the energy of that was a bit of rush. And when I look back at my 6 year younger self, I think that was the best thing that she could have done. But one of the things that I now help my early stage coaches is that, just, if you enjoy online marketing, do that, create content. But if you don't have to do that. Best thing to create clients, and when I look back and look at my numbers, is that when I approached friends of friends, tapped into my existing communities, Facebook groups, in-person communities, yoga community, and having a one-to-one conversation, saying, this is what I do, would you like to have one, and offer something a complimentary at the beginning, and invite them to a package. And knowing your package, because at the beginning I was working per session, even if it's a small package, because what I tell my clients is that transformation takes time.
Mm.
So it's a disservice to them if I they do just one off and then disappear. But if work in a container, then they can see the impact of that, and knowing that someone is holding them uh, throughout the container. I don't know if I answered your question, but I think I did. There are so many things that I wanted to share that I got super excited. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what you've just said there basically is really working out what works for you, that
Yeah.
it's not just one thing, and then also not spreading yourself thin,
Yeah.
not jumping onto all of the, five different marketing strategies
Yeah.
basically, but just focus on the one.
Yeah, and may I share one more thing? I just
Of course,
hearing your
please.
reflection is working with what works, the timing that works better for you. So I used to offer, like, so if my client says, can you do weekend, can you do after hour, can you do in the evening, I always said yes at the beginning, but especially after motherhood and when my son was born, I learned that I don't have the capacity. So I started working in the timeline and hours that works best for me, knowing that I would be the most expansive and more nourishing self, and then inviting people to that, as opposed to thinking, oh no, this is not a good time, or you know bending so much that I cannot hold anymore. Does that make
Yeah,
sense? Yeah, I yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, it's setting the structure and the boundaries, and I suppose having your experience of saying yes to the beginning actually also gave you information regarding, okay, how much do I hold in a day, and yeah,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
that
Yeah,
gives you the
yeah.
clarity.
That was part of the experience. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. People ask about pricing, which we've touched already. People ask about niching. What's your advice around that? How did you find your niche? Yeah, do you have anything to share around that?
Okay, I let me start with niching because that's very popular when you start.
Yeah.
And I remember I right after my certification I started to work with a business coach and learn about niching and actually what is my niche, which was helpful. But later on, I realized I didn't need to have a niche.
Mm.
Because if you are not going online, you don't have to have a niche. Your niche will find you. After a while, I realized that, okay, most of my clients are women. Most of my clients are are seeking a deep sense of purpose or calling. Most of my clients are having had a sort of spiritual awakening. So this the niche came the more I coached, and
Mm.
because my business actually started to take over when I chose consciously to go with offline marketing. And by offline marketing, I mean that you still have a presence. You still you have a website. You can have online webinars or workshops. That's okay. But the way that your clients are you're consistently coming to you are not from a funnel or from social media or website. And that when I chose to go to on chose the path of offline marketing, I realized I don't need a niche or be worried about that,
Mm.
because I was offering that's how my business has been working up until maybe the beginning of this year. I'm changing that a little bit, but anyway, so I offered monthly workshops in a couple of well-being centers and yoga centers that I used to
Mm.
teach. The workshops are very low fee, and I think this is very valuable information for people that are interested in offline marketing. And I had a conversation with the manager. Says, okay, this is something that I love to offer. I'm passionate, and this it will serve your community. And there was a small percentage that agreed with them, so everything is clean and clear from the beginning. And that way I was serving the community. And then there was a time bound offer after my workshop, which was a combination of either breathwork or coaching, or either kundalini yoga or work or coaching. These are my other expertise or other modalities that I work with. So I brought something that I was good at, serve the community. At the end of the workshop, invited people for a clarity session, complimentary but limited, time bound. And that's how I got consistent client. And before that, I worked on my package. So I knew my package was simplified. I had only one package, and the price was set. So I was working for that, on that only. That really helped my business to become sustainable.
Yeah, I'm hearing clarity. Once you had that clarity, it was a lot easy to kind of do. It's a repeatable process, is what I'm hearing. And
Yeah.
I totally agree. The way that I found my coach was actually she did workshops and she offered all of us clarity calls as well. So
Yeah.
it works because they get to experience you
Yeah.
as a coach.
Yeah. And it's very warm, it's very alive. When you post something on Instagram or LinkedIn or any other social media that you are on, it's cold. You need to constantly create content, and for the algorithm to pick you up, it takes, especially if you're organic, not paid advertising, it takes a lot of time for the client to create that trust and to approach you, and then you have to go through all of that. Whereas where you put yourself in front of a live, like in person workshops, then they can feel you, and you invite them verbally, and they become, the whole process becomes so much more faster. And there was one more thing that I wanted to share around this, about clarity. The more clear you are, the especially financially and everything, it's all about clarity. And my advice to early stage coaches is that start with one offer, give it 90
Mm.
days, 3 months, and then change that. Don't think that you need to have a podcast, you need to have a perfect website, an amazing social media content. It's exhausting. Just keep that
Mm.
conversation going. Tell everyone that you do what you do, and invite them. So I would say 2 or 3 clarity calls per week will get you to your target monthly income very
Wow.
soon. More, so much better than spending that energy on social media and perfecting and paying someone, or to create that vision, imagery for you.
Yeah, it sounds so sustainable. So just to repeat, this template, because I think it's going to be so useful, is that you had a workshop where people got to meet you. It's warm. They get to, build that trust with you. You invite them to clarity calls, and then you have this invitation where you have 1 to 3 sessions where they get to experience this type
It's
of
only one
everything.
session,
Just
and
one.
I call
Oh, I
that,
see. Hmm.
yeah, it's not pro bono anymore. I invite them to I call that a breakthrough coaching session. It used to be 90 minutes. Now it is only 60 minutes, because it took longer for me. So I coach them in that session. So it's not only like a you know chemistry check, or they ask me question. I really coach them in that session. I ask them to, before the session, I ask 3 questions, something like, what is it that you really want to change in your life, what is your challenges right now, and why now is a good time. So these simple questions, and then I coach them in this session. I spend the last, with their permission, maybe 15-20 minutes talking about if they are, if we are matching and they are my aligned clients, and I like to work with them and I know I can support them, then I said, would you be interested to know how I could support you? And if they say yes, then I move on to offer. So it's one session, not, and
Hmm.
it's designed for them to have a sense of more of a one-to-one coaching, especially for those people that haven't done any coaching before. I think it's fair.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And this clarity that you have in your process, um, was it working with a business coach? Was it through books? Like, how did you get to this uh, process in your practice? Yeah.
I think part of that was try and
Mm.
error.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, as I said, it all came with trying different things and knowing what works. But what really, I think after 2 years, I said, I really want this to work, because I was, I love transformational coaching because it's not, it's for people that I support, but as part of that, I need to do my inner work. And for me, growth is one of my values. So I wanted to go all in. So I invested in a marketing and business training for holistic, in a very holistic way. That other organization that I trained with, and I gained that clarity through doing that. Not only by learning or reading something, by being in action throughout that whole year that I was training with them. But obviously the all the try and error and all the transformational coaching and all the client sessions that I had done before made me, when I started the second, this business and marketing course, helped me like wire everything together and connect everything together. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because sometimes I speak to prospective students, and they want that clarity of the plan of how it's going to look like in a year, in 2 years. But what in reality, the process of that is actually going through the course and doing a lot of practice. And I'm wondering if you've had any kind of low points in your journey. Like how was that? And how did you it sounds like there's
Many.
something. Yeah, okay.
Many. I had many. I think
Yeah.
the first one was that I used to offer complimentary workshops, and then after I think five or six of them, and I was, let's say, 1 month after my certification. Okay, I said I got everything together. Now I can create a course,
Mm.
and I think it was a 6 week course. Unlock your creativity through coaching, something like that. It included art and coaching, and I was hoping that the whole world is coming to buy that. No one, and that was the first time that I was offering my course as a paid course. No one showed up, and no one bought that. I said, okay, I'm going to run it anyway and make it like an online like
Recorded.
yeah,
Yeah.
recorded course. That was like, I felt so heartbroken, so heartbroken, and I felt low for a few days. But then the more I went through these low points, the more I realized it's all about consistency of showing up. And you know at the beginning it was a growth or transformational work for me. Now it became now it's my business, now it's my work, now it's like I see my business as my child.
Mm.
You cannot love your child, especially like if for those of you who have children and early stages, they are such joy, but it requires a lot of maintenance. And if you are mothering someone, you need to be consistent and giving it love, attention, energy, and showing up and knowing that it's about the process of creating, manifesting something like a business outside of you, and knowing that this creation will transform not only you but anyone who's going to touch that. And please do not be disappointed and compare yourself with coaches that done 6 years, 7 years, 20 years ahead of you, because they've all gone through what you are going through now, and they all struggle to find the first client. But consistency of showing up and having that fire, that passion of the why, the more clear you are on your why, the more that helps you to continue. Because your business is like a garden. It requires consistent maintenance and care and nourishment.
I love that you compared it to a mother and a child. That's so true. You're nourishing and nurturing at the very beginning, so that it, you know, grows strong
Yeah.
to that point.
To the
Um,
end, not the beginning.
yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's a full time,
That's right, exactly.
lifetime job.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. I'm still I want to ask you this question. Is there anything else in your body, heart, and mind that want to share that we haven't, said?
Um, I think it's all. If I wanted to share one thing, it's all about the passion, and um, and also being kind to yourself, especially at the beginning of your journey. I was very impatient and I wanted everything to happen, comparing myself to my trainers and other coaches that were many, many years ahead of me. And that was not kind. My advice for anyone who wants to join the program, um, certified as a transformational coach, is that, you know, if you try to take some of the weight and stress or pressure of I want this to become a successful business out of it, especially when you are in training and enjoy the process, you're going to have a more successful journey afterwards. So for example, if I was going in full time and I had to go through that pressure, but my advice to my earlier stage coaches is that even if you have a like part-time job to support that new creation, that would help. So you are learning and doing the inner work yourself as you're going through the process, and then you can show up more fully, and then you can have more clarity, as opposed to from day one having the, I've seen my clients, some of them coming to me for, I do holistic business coaching as well. They have a target and they want to get there by 3 months. I said, yes, that's okay, but do you know about this and this? And so there are many elements that you are learning as part of becoming a transformational coach. It's the coaching itself, and it's the business and marketing, which is another training. So give yourself some grace. That's my advice.
Or in stages. That's so beautiful, Bahar. Thank you so much. I'm
You're
sure this is
welcome.
going to be so helpful to so many people. But I'd love to invite you to share what you do. How can people work with you, connect with you? Yeah. Mm.
Thank you so much. It was an honor for me as well. And I hope that people find this useful. All that I shared was from my own personal experience and shared from my heart. And do not hesitate if there is a yes, if you can intuitively connect with that yes, answer that call, you won't regret it. They can find me on my websites, and at the moment I am offering mainly one-to-one, but I still offer monthly workshops. I think there is one coming in 2nd of July, and it's a lunchtime. It's a complimentary one. I can share the links for anyone who's interested to join. And I'm collaborating with another transformational coach to create spaces like this. So collaboration also, I forgot to talk about that, but there
Oh
are
my
many things
gosh,
to talk
yes.
about. So my website, and I'm on all social media as well, but my website is the main thing to find me.
Amazing. And it's just Bahar Bustani
Bahar
at,
Boostani,
yeah.
.co.uk or .com, both goes to the same place. And I
Brilliant.
am, yes, the benefit of being an IT.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I am Bahar Boostani. I think on Instagram and LinkedIn you can find me on Bahar Boostani. Yes,
Thank you so much, Bahar. And yes, I hope you have a wonderful day.
my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.